Just recently, one of the brothers was talking to a daycare owner, and the daycare owner said, if my wife is busy on a day, I would never take my kids to the daycare. This guy owns a daycare. He would never take his own kids to the daycare. Why? Look at the statement that he said. Look at the statement that he said. He said, what does that mean? Yeah, I mean, kids, only parents who hate their kids, who don't want them to succeed in life, would take them to the daycare system. So me as a daycare owner, why would I take my kids to the daycare? I will stay home with them that day. I mean, overuse of authority too much is never good, right? School has full authority, daycare has authority. Yeah, and being in this lack of free space for most of your childhood, it has mental health issues. It could later on impact the way you think, the way you develop, the way you grow, the way you look at life. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to part 2. We're discussing the Minnesota madness and the young brothers and the havoc they have been causing in the community. But it's easy to blame them. But I think they're a product of the environment, a product of institutions, a product of us in a way. We can easily blame them. But the reality is these are teenagers. They came from homes, they came from schools, they came from institutions, they have a backbone. There's no way they would be doing these things without this community backbone that they have. So what's happening in the back end for this to happen? After doing for the last 2-3 years, I've been thinking deeply about these issues. It's just been on my mind all the time, and I came to five issues impacting the especially Somali Muslim community, especially in the state of Minnesota. Issue number 1 is today's video. And many of you, I don't think you've ever thought about this, and some of you definitely have, is at a ground level, one of the most dangerous issues impacting the youth is that they are a product of the daycare system. I call them the daycare generation kids. The kids causing havoc in the community today never really had a childhood. They were bought into the system. Many of them never really ever seen the importance of having your parents at home, being raised in a comfortable space, being raised in a free environment and not being institutionalized. As a matter of fact, look at the schedule of many of the youth of the last 10 to 15 years. Look at the type of life they lived. You wake up 5 a.m., you get on a bus at 6 o'clock for school. You get out at 3:30. The daycare bus is waiting for them 3:30 at the place. The daycare bus is waiting for them at the place. Picks them up. Right, takes them to daycare by 4. They are in the daycare till 9 to 9:30 p.m. at night. Imagine doing that 7 days a week for a decade. On the weekends, it would be duxi, and then right away to daycare. A decade, sometimes more than that, of your whole life. The daycare generation never had a childhood. All the dumb things they're doing now in their teenage years of running around or stealing this or doing this, even though they took it to the next level. We did it when we were in elementary, middle school. In the afternoons, we fight each other. Oh, you know what I mean? Take this guy's bike because he took mine. Do this. Yani, and then by the time you get into high school, you outgrow it. But these kids never had that. They were institutionalized. They were put in a system and pressurized. Yani, there was pressure on them 24/7. They never really had enough freedom to go into the wilderness as a kid and try things, what works, what doesn't work. And then when you add the lack of parent involved in their life, yani school to daycare, the parent has no time to give tarbiyah. And then on top of that, in daycare systems, there is no form of discipline. There is no form of structure. It's pretty much open space. You bring all the kids, and some daycares are morally corrupt. They don't care about the kids. They just turn on the TV for them, and you have 30 kids in one room, all of them maybe same age, because they try to keep the same age groups together. And then afterwards, what happens is attitudes contagious, behaviors are contagious. It's easy for the kid to pick up the bad behavior. It's easy to pick up all the toxic things from this, pressurized environment. So bad behavior, lack of control, lack of discipline, lack of having a proper childhood, lack of parents involved in their childhood years leads to a lot of pressure over time, so that by the time they get out of the daycare system, they're not controllable because they were trying to do a coup of the daycare system for a decade. And now that they're out of there, guess what's happening? They're uncontrollable. They don't respect authority. They don't respect parents. They don't, when they look at you, they look like they're not there. They're not there. Just recently, one of the brothers was talking to a daycare owner, and the daycare owner said, if my wife is busy on a day, I would never take my kids to the daycare. This guy owns a daycare. He would never take his own kids to the daycare. Why? Look at the statement that he said. Look at the statement that he said. He said, what does that mean? Yeah, I mean, kids, only parents who hate their kids, who don't want them to succeed in life, would take them to the daycare system. So me as a daycare owner, why would I take my kids to the daycare? I will stay home with them that day. My wife is busy. I will never take them to the daycare that I own. Look at that, ikhwa. Imagine the parents who place their kids in those type of spaces. Is life difficult? Yes. Are there circumstances where daycare is needed? Yes. Should you forget your kids into the daycare system? Never. Does it have consequences when you take your kids to the daycare system? Yes. Yes. When you buy your kids, does it have an impact on you? Yes. Does it have a greater impact and consequence on the child? Yes. These are realities. These are deep realities of life that we're facing in the West. A new issue we never used to. Growing up, my parents were home, alhamdulillah. Come from school, we're playing outside the rest of the day. All the dumb mistakes that you need to make, you do it outside when you're young, so that by the time you're middle school, high school, you're smart enough to know how to navigate through life. But no, you were institutionalized, right? And these kids were institutionalized, right? Getting yelled at by an overuse of authority too much is never good, right? School has full authority, daycare has authority. Yeah, being in this lack of free space for most of your childhood, it has mental health issues. It could later on impact the way you think, the way you develop, the way you grow, the way you look at life. Because many of these kids, when you even talking to them, they don't respect your word. They don't even give you time. They don't respect anybody they see. And I'm not going to say all of them. And these are just signs that many people who would want to communicate with them have noticed. So in short, this is part 2 of a series of videos that we're doing today. Please, billah alaykum, stop taking these young innocent children to the daycare system. Find a different solution. If you can afford it, hire a nanny for them at home. Let them stay in the comfort of their space. If you cannot afford it, maybe a day or 2 is reasonable, and give the rest of the days for them to enjoy their childhood. Money is made, but children are a product of the effort you put into them. Money is important, but the kids are more important. If you're a Muslim parent, take this very, very seriously. And especially if you're Somali and this is impacting the Somali community in a heavy, heavy way, please stop taking. Don't let these mass corporations of daycare systems that are everywhere destroy the future of your child and the relationship you will have with them in the long run. Inshallah, we're going to keep it there. Check out part 3 for the second issue impacting the young brothers in the community that are causing havoc out there. Inshallah, we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects us from all evil and the harm that is out there.